Hey guys, this is Down Phoenix here, and I've got another little news bit. Today I'm playing Prison Architect, which I'm having a lot of fun of. It's a game that's currently available in alpha through the Steam Early Access system, and I'm really enjoying this game so far. But today I'm actually here to talk about what are games actually worth. The reason why I have this discussion point here today is because there's a game available on Steam that costs $90. $90. And it's not a finished game. It's a game that's also in alpha through Steam's early access program. So that is quite a lot of money when you consider that the average price of a game is $50 or $60 for a full budget title. Sometimes you pay more for collector's editions and so on and so forth. I mean, I'm very familiar with all that stuff because I just picked up The Last of Us last night, and there was a couple people that had the $150 post-pandemic edition. But, see, that's a little bit different because you're getting a lot of stuff besides the game with it. This is just for the game, basically. The game is called Planetary Annihilation. It's a game that's considered a spiritual successor to Total Annihilation or Supreme Commander, given that a lot of the people involved in this game actually worked with those particular games. And the type of game that it is also fits with the game that it is. You know, it is a real-time strategy game that's designed to have large-scale battles. We're not talking a few dozen units like in StarCraft or most RTS games. We're talking hundreds. And this often can be with 10 or more players on the same map, having hundreds of units apiece. And this game has battlefields that are so large that they take up the entire planet, hence the name Planetary Annihilation. Now, Planetary Annihilation was originally a game that was funded in Kickstarter. It made about $2.2 million. And in the Kickstarter, the alpha build of the game was $90. But it allowed you to play through the entirety of from alpha to beta to getting the final copy and getting some other, I guess, digital benefits with that $90 price range. It's a little bit different when you do that with Kickstarter versus, say, Steam. Because with Steam, it's designed to be a storefront that sells games to you. And it should not be intended as a way of funding a game's development. I guess with the early access program, it is to some degree like that, but let's be real here. The developers are double dipping. They've already had their Kickstarter, which was 240% of the goal that they asked for. They clearly already have the money to make this game. It kind of sucks, really, if you ask me, for the Kickstarter people that more or less, they don't have this exclusive access to these alpha builds anymore. Now that's being freely sold on Steam, where there's millions of gamers that have oversight of this now that did not see this before on Kickstarter. They're going to make a killing off of this, and that's fine, I guess, but at the same time, they're using Steam in a bad manner, and Steam is not meant to fund the development of a game. Steam is meant to sell a game that's already finished. Now, I guess it is a little bit different with the early access program, but I would assume with the early access program that it would be meant as an alternative to Kickstarter, not supplemental. They're just using this basically to raise even more money, which is a little questionable if you ask me. Did they really have some kind of strain in the budget that they cannot complete the game with 247% more than what they asked for? Now, in the grand scheme of things, you could just say, well, I don't need to buy this. And that's where I'm at, personally. Because $90 is a lot to ask for a digital game, especially given what the asking price is currently. But it may set a precedent if people, really adopt this, that other game publishers, Activision, EA, Ubisoft, you name it, they might be like, well, if they're willing to pay $90 for this early access alpha build game, why wouldn't they pay for it for our finished game? Then we'll start seeing Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed games priced at $90, $100. We've already had one price increase this generation with the price of games. I know we're going into another generation, possibly another price increase. We'll see. I know that they have some pre-orders out already for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Should be the Xbox 720 or anything but the One, because it's not the first one. But that's another story, of course. We'll probably see a price increase for those two. But are we going to see a major increase like this? I mean, $10 is one thing, but a $30 increase, that's huge. That's like a 50% increase over what we normally pay on these games. Now, bear in mind, the game's price is going to come down as it gets to later builds. Supposedly, it's going to go down to $60 when it is in beta form. So you have access to the beta program, and then eventually, the final game. And the final game is probably going to be like 30 or 40 bucks if the information based on their Kickstarter page is any indication. Because I believe like the cheapest Kickstarter had it for like $25 to get the game when it's final. And, Kickstarter sometimes will give little discounts to these people over what the regular price is. Personally, there's a game that I Kickstarted called Shadowrun Returns. It's going to be available in just a few days. It's finished, more or less, now. And I Kickstarted that for $15. They're currently selling on Steam for $17.99. So I got a slight discount over if I would have just waited for the game to be available for sale. But it really sets a dangerous precedent, especially for an unfinished game. They should be giving us some kind of reward or incentive to back their unproven and unfinished game early, as opposed to charging us more. I mean, imagine if Activision's like, you know what, we can maybe charge people an extra $100 to get Call of Duty a month early, a beta version. You can bet that a lot of people are going to pay that money. I mean, probably not the 13, 14, 15 million copies sold or whatever for each game, but, they might get a few 100,000 people that'll do it. Like the really hardcore Call of Duty fans that want to be on ground zero. They want to be there when the game starts so that they can get used to the new weapons, the new maps, the new gear, form their strategies, learn the ins and outs of the game, see how it changed from the previous games, and so on. If Activision decided to do something like that, that'd be a lot of free money basically for them just to put out a beta build for these people. That's not really a good strategy for consumers. This is a disastrous strategy for us. Especially if people start accepting this kind of policy, this norm that this game might possibly set. I mean, this game isn't even a well-established franchise or anything like that, and it's only got some of the people that worked on these original games. And as we know, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a good game. I just recently talked about a Kickstarter video about Shadow of the Eternals, which that's a game that I really look forward to. But at the same time, the developer, which was Silicon Knights, after they put out Eternal Darkness, they put out a couple of, kind of shitty games that a lot of people didn't like. So who's to say that the studio is still top-notch, that they're still at their A game? What I think they should have done instead was charged a more reasonable price, like $50 or $60, and then the people that paid more, give them something extra. Give them something that says, hey, I know we originally charged $90 for this alpha, and now we're only charging $60. But because you guys did back us early, we'll give you guys something extra. We'll give you special thanks in the credits. We'll give you some kind of free DLC or, something like that. Just something to say, hey, thank you for your support. And this is what we're going to do for you, because we don't think it's right to charge this insane amount of money for a game that we're now selling on a storefront. Because it really is not right. Any change in pricing should be dictated by the market. It should be dictated by inflation, by increase in cost of living, wages, all this stuff. It should be dictated by the market. And when you have someone like Ubisoft, for instance, they rose the price of PC games from $50 to $60, I believe, with Assassin's Creed 2 when it first came out. A lot of PC gamers are upset about it, but at the end of the day, most PC games are still in the $50 price range. That's because the market hasn't dictated that price increase yet for PC games. Because, yes, PC games are a little bit cheaper than console games, but at the same time, those companies do not have to pay the royalty fees to Microsoft in terms of PC games or Apple in terms of Mac games that they do for Microsoft in the case of the Xbox or Sony at the PlayStation and so on. They don't have those royalty fees, so it just makes sense for them to offer a lower price on the PC to get PC players more likely to pay for the game, because they're going to make the same amount of money on them, sometimes more than what they make off of a console player. But at the same time, I'm not in the camp of the people complaining about this in the Steam forums, thinking that it's just completely blasphemous of these people to do this. This game studio, they can charge whatever price they want, regardless of what the market says they should charge. At the end of the day, they're going to probably be making less money than if they would have priced the game in a more reasonable range, because a lot of people are simply not going to accept paying that kind of money. But that is their decision. I'm not mad at them or anything for this. They can choose whatever price they want. They just need to realize the potential consequences of this. So if you guys like what you've seen here today, please give me a like. Discuss it all in the comments. If you did not like this, please give me a comment down here below and tell me why. And with that, guys, Down Phoenix out.